My mission is to be the best police officer I can with the talents and gifts given to me by God, to be the wife I was created to be, to raise my children to be contributing members of society, and to be the leader who strives to give those in my command the tools they need to be successful. With the support of my family, friends, and peers, I will become the supervisor I am meant to be. My dream of becoming a police officer began when I was 11 years old. A family tragedy made me realize what I wanted to be when I grew up. Having no idea how to attain that goal, it was put on the back burner for many years. I married, had children, but the dream never wavered. I eventually shared this dream with my husband, who was not entirely thrilled at the idea of his wife being out on the streets fighting crime. Eventually, he came to realize that he could not be the roadblock to me achieving my goal. No one was more proud that day that he pinned the badge on my uniform. I will never forget when he said, "I have never seen you happier." This is when I knew I was where I was meant to be. While doing the myself values exercise, I made a realization of many more words that could be used in my mission statement. Learning to fully believe in the words that I felt describe myself from the list is one thing that will aid in me earning a promotion. Being a reliable employee is paramount in getting yourself noticed. The ability to work collaboratively with others by including all individuals wanting to be on board is a quality that a good leader should have. Being a dependable person shows maturity and dedication to the organization you represent. There are many values that are representative of the kind of leader I desire to be. Being thankful and thoughtful are at the top of that list. Showing appreciation for those in your charge lets them know you are sincere. Feeling appreciated is important to all people, and saying thank you does not cost you anything. All of these qualities build your credibility with your peers for that one day when you become their boss. I am not one that takes compliments easy. When I was 15 years old, my grandpa Dixon was very ill and close to death. I remember visiting him in a Michigan hospital. He did not have his false teeth in, and so hearing him speak was challenging. He told me how beautiful he thought I was. I am sure he had said it before, but this day it stuck in my brain. He died not too long after that conversation, but I kept his words with me. I had a hard time accepting compliments after that. They always made me think of my grandpa. Hearing compliments made me sad, which is quite the opposite of its intended purpose. I now can accept compliments and fondly remember my grandpa with a smile. This taught me how important it is to tell those you lead how much you appreciate their work. A simple thank you can go a long way. One strategy for becoming a leader is getting people to see themselves as part of the larger whole. One learns to become part of a larger whole by learning the shared values. Being in touch with one's internal compass will direct one's path correctly. This enables you to make the right decisions at the right time, especially when involved in a critical incident. Every person has their own personal values that are the most important to them. Knowing how to utilize the values that we all share will shine the light on your ability to lead. I had an opportunity to work in collaboration with our CSO, Brittany Austin, who would become my best friend. Her grandmother had lost a friend who'd crashed her car and was unable to exit. Her friend died in that fiery crash because her seatbelt trapped her inside her upside-down vehicle. We found a tool that would help cut the seatbelt and, if necessary, break a window so one could escape a vehicle. We worked together on the presentation and came up with ways to raise not only awareness, but funds to purchase the items. We never got the opportunity to see this come to fruition, as Brittany left the agency for an officer's position elsewhere. But our goal of getting the Rescue Me tool into the hands of the elderly will one day happen. Finding a mentor to assist me in navigating my way to leadership is important. Leaders provide the resources that enable subordinates to build their skills and put their abilities to constructive use, but they can't do it if they don't know how. Finding a mentor that wants to see you succeed is only going to show you how to be a better leader. The more I've looked into what a good leader is, the more I realize that my initial thoughts about leaders were incorrect. I had always thought a good leader was one that trained their people to do so well that they could disappear and no one would know that they were gone. I now feel that a good leader is someone who gives their people the freedom to make choices that force them to fall back on their training. It is someone who allows them to make decisions that sometimes are mistakes, but teaches them to accept the responsibility of that mistake and learn from it. As a Bible school student and ministry leader, I did my best to train my team to know what their job was. I left for a long weekend when my brother got married, and I had to leave the job of wrangling my team up to one of its members. Even though I was 1,600 miles away and supposed to be celebrating my brother's nuptials, I couldn't help but think of my team and if they were doing a good enough job. It all went off without a hitch, and no major incidents took place. That's what I thought a good leader was, and to a point, I was correct. Here's a figure of my roadmap that I want to utilize in order to gain stripes. The first step was becoming a police officer. Next, I found a mentor to help me learn leadership skills. Training was the next step. Continuing my education is where I'm at today. I have already applied for the promotion. Next is to study for the interview and the testing. My final step will be to accept that position. Gone are the days when maps were used to navigate family trips. I remember one such trip that I took with my sister. It was not so much of a trip as it was moving halfway across the country. One warm day in June, the car was packed, the snacks were within reach, and we set out on the adventure of moving my sister from Cloquet, Minnesota to Charleston, South Carolina. With our triptych in hand from AAA, we set off down the road. When looking at a map, it is important to know which direction is north, not what direction you think is north. When holding the map, it is best not to hold it so you can read the names of the roads and towns, but hold it so you can make the correct turns. I was the navigator when a wrong turn was made. Here we were heading south on some highway, and I was holding the map, with north at the top of the map. Without realizing it, I said turn right. Not east or west, but right. Needless to say, we went west, but were supposed to have gone east. About 30 minutes down the road, when we were not hitting any of the towns we should have, I realized the mistake I had made. A little bit of yelling transpired, but we learned from our mistake and were able to correct it at the next exit. Road maps are important, but you need to be sure you are holding them correctly. My vision statement is having the ability to touch people's lives by showing them appreciation for a job well done. having the next generation of officers realize their dreams of being able to help someone in need. I have always had the question in police job interviews of why do you want to be a police officer? The standard answer that people give is to help people. That is the true answer, at least for me it is. But there is really no good way to say to help people without actually saying to help people. I'm sure there are 1,000,000 ways to answer that question, but I always respond with, I actually just want to help people. I would sometimes go into a cute story of helping the little old grannies to their cars after church or teaching Sunday school to children. I love the little grannies, but other people's children, not so much. Who knew getting into this profession that I would deal with so many children? This is where I am stretched as an officer. I want to help, but most of the time, these kids don't want help. Their parents need help raising them, but they were children themselves when they became parents. I can only hope that the few minutes interaction I have with them on the street give these kids a different view of what a parent should be. Why my mailbox is not full on Mother's Day, I will never know, but I will continue to do my best to give direction to the misguided youth of today. How can I apply this vision statement to achieve my mission? This vision statement will not only assist me in attaining my goal of promotion, but will remind me that there were those that mentored me in my quest. It will remind me to show others that we are a team, and when one of the team wins, we all win. I want to live up to the expectations that are put forth by those who choose to follow me. I am not a field training officer at Metro Transit. What I am is a confidant for the new recruits as they begin their careers as police officers. Training is a very stressful time, and recruits are advised not to complain about their training officers. They are there to train you, not to be your friend. From the time that I was hired and made it off field training myself, I decided that I was going to be the person the recruits could come to and complain. I will not necessarily agree or disagree with their complaints. I will just be the sounding board that they can yell at when frustrated. I will be the listening ear when they need it, and all of what they say stays with me. This is a way I can help mentor the new officers without undermining their training officers. I am just a friend when they need one. What are the benefits and disadvantages to this concept? The benefits of this mission statement is that I get to watch other officers achieve their goals and to be a help to those in need. Being that guardian angel to the public when they didn't know they needed one is an important part of my job. A disadvantage to this mindset is that people don't realize the benefits of my service. In the climate we find ourselves in at this time, officers are not seen as the heroes they once were. In 2012, I was in the right place at the right time. I assisted a neighboring agency with a medical. I became the guardian angel for a family who needed one. Jim was dead when I walked into his house. Vicky knew what her husband needed and told me so. She was correct. Many minutes of chest compressions and 8 shocks from the AED brought Jim back to life. He needed a lot of rehab to learn to live his life with the defibrillator that now took place in his chest. But he was around for the birth of his next 3 grandchildren. That family says my name is fitting for what I was that day for them. Angela the Angel. I was to that family what the deputy was to me all those years ago when I made the decision to become a police officer. Another incident when I was a guardian angel in disguise happened 6 years ago. Again, I was assisting a neighboring agency with an unknown problem in the women's restroom of McDonald's. Who would have ever imagined that a female was giving birth in that restroom? This unexpected delivery turned into one of the greatest accomplishments of my career to date. I arrived to find this poor woman at 28 weeks gestation with a breech presentation. Her mother was trying to deliver the child. Her husband was trying to comfort and encourage her. A complete stranger provided a blanket for her to give birth on and was also trying to help. This child came into the world very suddenly and early. No one knew if she was alive, let alone if she would survive. I had my own guardian angels that day. For some reason, I knew exactly what to do in order to get that precious girl into this world. The ride to the hospital with her in my lap is one I will never forget. Looking at her tiny body being kept alive with our hands still fills me with wonder and excitement. I will forever hold a special place in my heart for her, Nora. She is a fighter and just celebrated her 6th birthday. I say this often. I could quit tomorrow and know that I have made a difference in someone's life. Since 2015, the death of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, police officers have slowly been seen as the enemy. Every year, every officer-involved shooting and every in-custody death has eroded the relationship between public and police. I experienced this hatred firsthand after the in-custody death of George Floyd. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be the recipient of the hatred spewed at me from the public and some family members. Many officers have chosen to leave this profession due to the riots and protests that took place. This has only driven me to do better and be better. Are there days that I want to quit? Yes. There have been nights when I've asked myself, how much more verbal abuse can I endure? I am not sure, but until I do know, I will put my uniform on with pride and do the job I have been hired to do, even without appreciation. This class has made me think of the road I have taken to get where I am. I had the desire for this journey a long time ago, but not having a mentor put a speed bump into me achieving my goal. I have had several mentors along this path. The most important one was Felicia Riley. Felicia gave me the confidence to take that first step. She encouraged me, she told me stories, and she held my proverbial hand as I walked this path. This reminds me of a statement made by former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright. She said, "There's a special place in hell for women who don't support other women." This quote reminds me that instead of making life miserable for the women coming into this field behind me, I can help them navigate their own journeys, like Felicia did for me.